is brought to you by Local Video Marketing. In association with CoachChic.com.
Just so our hockey friends know. There's now a big difference between CoachChic.com and the Mastermind Group, the world's best hockey information website. can now be found at CoachChic.com. Henceforth, the Hockey Mastermind Group will be where serious coaches, parents and players meet for free on monthly online webinars.
Hi there, this is Kim Lukhard, Hockey Mom RD, and on this episode, I'm going to share with you the secret to safe weight gain. This is a common topic that comes up quite often with the youth ice hockey players that I work with, and I want to share you how you can help your skater do it safely. So recently, a hockey mom sent me a message that said his coach told me he needs to gain 13 pounds. This is not uncommon. When skaters go through their growth spurt, they're typically growing fast, they're growing tall, and it is hard for them to gain weight, especially during the hockey season. My son went through the very same thing at 11 and 10 months. He was only 4'11" and 74 pounds when he started the 6th grade. Well, by the time he was 13 and 1 month, so just after his 13th birthday, he had already grown to 5'7" and weighed 114 pounds, and he was in the 7th grade. Now, what I did with my son was he had to take a year off from hockey. Unfortunately, I couldn't have one son playing in town and another son playing over an hour away. Plus, it was just financially not in the bank at that time. So I got my son involved with a personal trainer. I had met with him and we really saw eye to eye on youth sports nutrition. And this is a true picture of my son in the 6th grade when he was training with his trainer and learning how to fuel with me. Now, this obviously is after he had probably been working with his trainer for close to a year, because you can see the weight on his bar, but he did pack on 30 to 40 pounds of muscle. And here is another picture of my son, a little bit older. And yes, it does take extra calories and work to gain muscle. Just pouring in the extra calories without the work is only going to add fat weight. So in order to gain 1 pound of weight, you need an excess of 3,500 calories over your daily caloric needs. Now, these calories should be nutrient dense, not just any random food. Really think about it so your skater is getting good food. And go slow. A safe weight gain is only a half a pound to 1 pound per week. Anything faster than that is most likely going to be fat weight and is not going to help them improve their speed and stamina on the ice. So how do you do that? You can add snacks throughout the day. Here's a simple snack. It's only a half a cup of cooked pasta with a half a cup of marinara sauce, and it tops in at 250 calories. And then just a simple bagel. One of those big bagels is actually 270 calories. You can have that after practice. Your skater could even have it in, like, say, the 2 hours before practice with a glass of low-fat milk. And then a waffle. These are always a favorite on tournament weekends. This slide here shows you that waffles are great with calories at coming in at about 218, but they do contain fat. So if you're going to use waffles for weight gain, make sure that your skater is having their waffle meal about 3 hours before they want to get on the ice. Because if you haven't heard any of my episodes before, that can slow your skater down on the ice. And then one last snack. It's quite a punch with calories at 410 calories. 2 of the long rectangular graham crackers with 2 tablespoons of peanut butter or almond butter or some butter if your skater has a nut allergy. coupled with 8 ounces of low-fat milk, and that gives a power pack punch of 410 calories. Your skater could add that in the morning and in the afternoon. Say if they're a high-level skater, probably around the age of 16, and they're really trying to get to that 4,000 calorie level, which they may need with their activity. Want to learn more about youth ice hockey nutrition? Visit www.hockeymomrd.com, and you can also email me at kim@hockeymomrd.com, and please type hockey nutrition in the subject line so I can pick it out real fast. I would be happy to speak with you about your skater or your team's hockey nutrition. Happy skating. This is Kim Lukhard, Hockey Mom RD.
Welcome to the band gym, everybody. I want to take you through how to take one exercise and by changing your base of support, turn it into 15 exercises. You with me? Let's do this. All right, so we're going to use a simple attached single band with the handle to go ahead and do a single arm chest press. Now, this could be a bilateral chest press, this could be rowing, this could be bent over press. This could be almost any exercise you do with attached training. However, the point of this is to show you how you can quickly adapt, change, tweak an exercise to get a different influence on your body. So let's go ahead and break it down, all right? First variation. Well, I like to use a staggered stance when I'm doing single arm pushing. It puts me in a good walking based position, and obviously the first variation could just be a simple one-arm staggered stance chest press. However, we could go ahead and get our hips more involved by dropping our hips a little bit, balancing, and coming on out of it. So now we're dropping in and we're coming on out. So there's a second variation of a single arm staggered chest press. Third one, we could go ahead, start here, and add a step. So now we can go ahead and step in and bring it back. If we want to be more aggressive, we could go ahead and add a quick jump. So now we set our feet and we explode to work on our power and our coordination. Each of these 4 variations of this exercise become more and more complex as it relates to getting your body to integrate together. Now let's go ahead and let's go into a parallel stance. We're going to put our feet side by side. We call it a parallel stance. Well, obviously the first variation could be a single arm chest press. Now, what's the difference between a staggered and parallel? It's very simple. Base of support is not going to be as stable in this position when we go to push, which means our trunk is going to have to work a lot more aggressively. Versus in this position, our back foot could help us really support ourselves. In this position, our trunk is going to have to work a whole lot more. Plus, with an offset load, we're going to actually work more of our lateral trunk, one way side or the other, depending on which arm you're pushing. Now let's go into a squat and stay in a squat position. Now in order to do that, we're going to move this down a little bit. We're going to stay in this squat position and we're going to press. Now immediately that's going to just engage my lower body a lot more aggressively, but it's also going to be somewhat different in regards to that's not a common movement for our body. So it's going to make our chest have to work a lot more aggressively because this is not a common position for us to push. The third variation is to drop into a squat and come on out of it pushing. So now this is much more consistent with how our body is designed to move. You're going to find a squat push is a great way to go ahead and activate a lot more of your lower body during your chest pressing. Now, let's keep ourselves parallel, but we're going to go perpendicular to our attachment point. So now we can go ahead and do rotational pushing. So again, all we're doing is starting here, rotating and pushing. Now what we can do is bring a step in with that. So now a very consistent movement that you will see people doing a lot during the day. And if you're a recreational athlete, like a tennis player, a rotational step is really going to feed into what you do on the court. So as a result now, we have taken the parallel stance and created 5 variations. We're now up to 5 total variations, 9 variations of how to do single chest press. Now let's go into 10. Well, 10, we're going to drop down into a half kneeling position, make ourselves very stable, and now we can really isolate in and make our chest have to do a lot of work. However, if we want to get our legs more involved, we can come into a isometric hold split squat, which is really going to improve my back, leg, thigh flexibility because I'm putting it on a constant stretch while my trunk is engaged. So it's a great way to improve hip flexor and thigh flexibility. Now let's go into a full split squat. So we're going to split squat, come up, push it. Split squat, come up, push it. Notice I'm pushing as I come up. I'm not going to split squat and come down. That would be abnormal. Our body doesn't work like that. Our body wants to use our hips to push. So a split squat push is another variation that you could go ahead and add in. Now let's change our base of support to a bilateral stance. So once again, isometric hold position. Now the cool thing here is if the standing position was challenging for you, you may find that by shortening the lever arm into a half kneeling, or a bilateral kneeling position, now your trunk can work, but you can get a lot more work with your chest because you're in a shorter lever arm. Trunk has to work a little less, and now you can really go ahead and drive with that arm a lot more aggressively. Want to bring your hips in more? Drop into a hip extension or a hip flexion and extend as you come out. Drop down, extend as you come out. Now you can really get your glutes involved with this simple one arm chest press variation. The final variation of chest press, we're going to move our attachment point way down, because what we're going to do is we're going to go into a pillar position and we're going to do a pillar chest press. Now you know there's variations of this depending on how strong your pillar is. You could start kneeling, you could go to a split stance, or you can stack your feet, drop up, go into a full pillar position, or if you want to go into an extended pillar position, you can go into extended pillar position and work that situation. So now I've taken you through 4 different variations of a pillar press, but ultimately I just showed you 15 different ways to do a single arm chest press, and the only thing we did was change our base of support. By simply changing our base of support, we immediately impact our body significantly different, especially our lower body as it relates to flexibility and stabilization. Guys, don't get stuck doing the same exercise. If you're doing single arm chest presses or bilateral chest presses and you want to change it up, just change your base of support.
One fall day, my 6-year-old grandson tried to drag me away from my yard work numerous times. On about the 3rd time, I suggested he practice exchanging passes with a new friend. Then, when little Anthony asked me the new friend's name, I just said, Meet Joe.
Information, very objective data to indicate, to prove, to show what the differences are between fast skaters and slow skaters. Well, if you take all the research and you compile it down to about 8 different characteristics, we know that the 8 primary differences between fast skaters and slow skaters indicate that 4 of the 8, 50% of the characteristics have to do with a wide stride, pushing out to the side. So what Wayne Marino and what Pierre Paget found was that faster skaters had a wider stride from left to right. They had a wider left stride, they had a wider right stride, and then when they measured their angle of hip, what we call hip abduction, so that would be the angle from here with my hip, the faster skaters had a wider angle. In other words, the faster skaters had a much wider stride. Now, if you can watch a game, whoever it is, and you will notice that the faster skaters typically, traditionally, and consistently will push to the side. So 4 of the 8 have to do with the wide stride. Some of the other characteristics are a quick recovery. So in other words, after you push off, after that player pushes off, a fast skater, he or she will get his or her skate on the ice as quickly as possible. Another characteristic is once they recover, once their blade lands flat, they turn that skate into the push-off skate really, really fast. And this is something that we have found with female players with about 3 studies that we have done. Wide stride and quick recovery. So watch how quickly he gets the skate back on the ice. That's the reason Nolan is so fast. And then we've got Chris, who also is one of the best skaters in his league and on his team. Wide stride, quick recovery. Now some of the ones that are very consistent and most people will agree with is that faster skaters have a deeper knee bend when they start to push off, as well as a significant forward lean. So those are the 8 skating characteristics, the 8 differences between fast skaters and slow skaters.
Just so our hockey friends know, there's now a big difference between CoachChic.com and the Mastermind Group. The world's best hockey information website can now be found at CoachChic.com. Henceforth, the Hockey Mastermind Group will be where serious coaches, parents and players meet for free on monthly online webinars. This has been a local video marketing production. We hope you've enjoyed this, and that you've picked up a number of great hockey tips. Please do tell some friends about these shows, and let the contributing coaches know how much you appreciate them.